What's up guys, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to talk about how my business trip to Vegas last week went. Not well. Murphy's Law states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And boy, did Murphy tell me what the was what. I wake up Tuesday morning, I pack, I get in my car, and I head off to go pick up my coworker. I've been to his house 100 times before. I pull up, I type in the gate code, and it doesn't work. So I text him, "Hey Oscar, what's your gate code?" And he texts me back the same number that I typed in. So I tried it again. Still didn't work. So now Oscar had to walk all the way to the gate. That's not that big of an inconvenience. That's not that big of a deal. He walks out, we drive to the lab. When we get to the lab, we're packing up all the equipment and all the standards that we need to do this job in Las Vegas, calibrating things. As we were packing, we noticed that our torque standard was out for calibration. The torque standard is for calibrating torque wrenches. We did some research. We found out that it was in Baltimore at one of our sister labs. We contacted them. They said, "No problem, we'll get it done today. We'll ship it to your job site tomorrow." We're like, perfect, because now it'll be there right when we're there. We pack up everything else into the van, and we're off. As we're somewhere near Murrieta, California, my coworker Oscar slams the glove box of the car, yelling, "Shit!" So I say, "What's up, Oscar? What's going on?" And he says, "I forgot my toolbox," which is perfect, but not that big of a deal. We called our material handler, and we were like, "Hey, can you just ship this overnight?" He said, "No problem." UPS picked it up that afternoon. So now we have two things that are supposed to be there tomorrow morning. The rest of the drive to Vegas is pretty uneventful. We get there around 5:36, check into the hotel, head up to our rooms. Shortly after that, Oscar texted me, said he wanted to go get his haircut, asked if I wanted to tag along. I had nothing better to do, so I said sure. So we go to the barbershop, and turns out they wouldn't let me in because coronavirus, so I had to sit in the van. As I was sitting in the van, I was editing my video, and Oscar texted me, "Hey man, you got 20 bucks on you? They only take cash, and they don't have an ATM." So I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." He comes out to get the money. I roll down the window to the van to give him the money, and he walks away. As I attempt to roll the window back up, it doesn't go up. So now it's 110 degrees. And I don't have any air conditioning. No big deal. He just had to finish up and pay, and then he was coming back out, and we would be back to the hotel. But since we got to the hotel, we now realized that we had $250,000 worth of standards in the back of a Dodge Grand Caravan that the window was stuck open on. So we parked it as close to the wall, but very inconspicuous-like, and we headed off to party. We prepared for work the next day by drinking and staying up until 2 a.m. or so. During that time, we met up with this fan named Sean. Really cool dude. I think he's a patron of Danny Mullen. So while we were drinking, we all went back up to the hotel room, and Oscar says, "Hey, why don't we call Danny?" So I did. And for the first time ever, I drunkenly called Danny Mullen with two fans. My coworker is also a fan. Danny wakes up in his sleep and hates me, but he gets over it and talks to us for a minute, and then I let him go back to bed. We go back downstairs, we drink, we gamble, and like I said, at around 2 a.m. we called it a night. But before the end of a drunk partying night, you need food. So we went to American Coney Island at the D. If you don't know what a Coney dog is, it's basically a chili cheese dog. So now, after gambling for a night, I'm up over $400. I have my chili cheese dog, and I'm going back up to my hotel room. I didn't have to be at work until 1:30, so I'd planned on sleeping in until noon. I was awoken at 11:45 by Oscar calling me for the 7th time that morning to let me know that he was sick. Not like had a little bit too much to drink the night before, got a hangover sick. He was sick. He was vomiting everywhere and just had a stomach virus or food poisoning or something. He decided to try to tough it out, and as he was walking to the van to go to work, he vomited. Not once, not twice, like 6 or 7 times. In this huge puddle of vomit right in front of this Toyota Corolla that was parked inside the parking garage next to the van. I then told him to just go back to his room and not come to work, which really sucks because it was a 2-man job for 2 days, and now it's only going to be me there for this first day. So I'm going to have to try to do as much work as I can, and then we'll both have to push really hard the next day. When I get there and I'm unloading the van, I realize that I forgot an entire crate full of standards back at the lab, which isn't a big deal because the torque standard is supposed to be in the mail, and so is Oscar's toolbox. So I'll still have a bunch of stuff to do that day. Unfortunately, the torque standard also wasn't in the mail. I call our material handler and tell him that I need him to ship me that crate, and he does. It's going to be there the next day. But now we really need the torque standard. All I have that I can do there at this point is dimensional. So calipers, micrometers, with using gauge blocks and that sort of thing, calibrating those kind of tools. So the next UPS delivery was at 4 p.m. So we were hoping that we were going to get our torque standard in that delivery. 4 p.m. comes and goes, no torque standard. Luckily, I still have enough dimensional work to get me through the night, and we're really hoping that the torque standard is there tomorrow, and my case of electrical equipment. I get back to the hotel, now with an empty van, so I don't have to worry about being so inconspicuous. And Oscar calls me. He's still so sick to the point that he can't keep water down. So he's having his wife drive from California to Vegas to pick him up and bring him back to a hospital in California in case he has to be quarantined for 14 days so he doesn't get stuck in a hospital in Las Vegas. So now I know that I'm going to have to work until Friday, so I have to get my hotel extended and all of that good jazz. I was up $400 Tuesday night, so I said F it and went gambling again on Wednesday night. Gambled and drank basically by myself until 3 or 4 a.m., hanging out with whoever's at the table, you know, that kind of stuff. I met this girl named Misty, hung out with her for a long time, didn't get it, and that's about that. I lost about $200 that night, but since I was up 4, I'm still $200 up. Thursday I show up to work, this time closer to 2:30 per the customer's request, and still no torque standard. Luckily, my shipping crate did come in, so I start working on the electrical stuff that I have, and then I sent Oscar to try to find this FedEx package. So Oscar's on the phone with them all day, trying to figure out where this stuff is. And I'm contacting labs all over the country, trying to get them to just ship me a different one, because worst case scenario, I have 2 on Friday. None of these other labs want to give up their torque standard, but Oscar eventually finds ours. I finished everything electrical there that day. Still tried to get in 9 hours or so, and then went back to my hotel, once again, partied and drank, and gambled until, this time, 6 a.m. Bad decision, Jerry. The sun was still up when I was getting my Coney dogs for the night, and went back to my hotel room. I lost another $200 that night, but at this point, I'm even Steven, so I haven't lost any money, so it's okay. Because basically, I spent the last 3 nights partying and drinking and having fun for 6 to 7 hours for free. Because drinks are free in Vegas if you're gambling. So it was worth that amount of time and entertainment for nothing. I show up for work Friday at 2:30, again, per the customer, and our torque standard did arrive. This was about 40% of the work that we had on this whole site, so now it's me alone trying to do 40% of the work. I pushed hard, didn't take my lunch break, and only worked a couple hours of overtime, and finished the job, packed up the van, and went back to the hotel room. Once again, parked it inconspicuously, because now I had all the standards in the back of the van again, and I went back up to my room. I ordered a delivery pizza from Flamingo's, which, by the way, was horrible. They quoted me an hour, it took them 2. They forgot a part of my order, and then won't refund me for it. So now I'm pissed, so I just ate my pizza and drank a Pepsi, and went to bed. I woke up Saturday morning, and all I have to do is drive 5 hours back to San Diego. But let's not forget, the window is still broken on the van. I had to drive in 110-degree heat through the Mojave Desert back to San Diego with no AC. It was one of the most miserable drives of my life. My body was feeling weird because I spent 3 nights that week partying, and I was sitting in 110-degree heat. I hated every second of it. But eventually I made it back. I unloaded the van, got home, and just went to bed. That was a long 5-day trip. And my worst time in Vegas. The partying was fun, but the work stuff sucked. It was super stressful for no reason. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, especially if you watched till the end. I have something special for you. If any of you watch the title screen at the end, I usually put a name on there, Brock. And he's actually in boot camp right now, and he's my top patron supporter. And he just sent me fan mail. So this is my first ever fan mail. And I'm going to write him back because he's in boot camp. And, you know, that's the right thing to do. Maybe we'll go to his graduation and film it. We'll find out. But anyways, thanks for watching. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Support me on Patreon, maybe. I don't know. Let me know. Anyway.